Hello everybody, Verex here, with a little video about this thing called NaNoWriMo on National Novel Writing Month. Even though it should be international by now, it started off as national, so they kind of stuck with it, but it's a worldwide thing. So what this website is, you make an account, and this website gives you the opportunity to write a story, as in, it sets that time aside that you wouldn't normally have to write a book, because they say that everybody's got a book in them, and I think that's true, but there's always something else, you know. There's a game to play, there's a show to watch, film to go and see, you know, anything else. But you start out with that blank piece of paper and you just don't write. You find something else to do like that, just really easily. This website says, no, in the month of November you are going to write this bloody book, and that's what it makes you do. And it gives you a target of 50,000 words. Now, as a motivational tool, this site is bloody brilliant. I've used it twice, once in 2009, once in 2011. I'll get to them in a bit. Both times I wouldn't have written what I had written if it wasn't for this website, because it just, yeah, like I say, it just makes you write in the month of November. It tells you to put that time aside and makes you write, and I think it's absolutely brilliant for that. You know, it just makes you do it. You know, gets it in your timetable, gets it in your mind. This is when you're going to do it, so do it. Has its problems though, and we'll go through that as I talk about the works that I've done in the past. Alright, in 2009 I wrote this story here. This is a story about Variax, and I did it. I did the whole thing, even though it says 46,000 there-ish. I wrote the 50,000. I've been back later and like edited it a little bit. That's why it's a bit less, and we'll get into that in a little bit as well. But basically, I did it. Hooray! You know, I did the 50,000 words in 30 days, which is like 1,600 a day. The bad thing about that is 50,000 words is a hell of a lot of words. A hell of a lot of words. And, I don't know why I'm scrolling through it, I don't expect you to read it. Read that if you want. But, yeah, 50,000 words is so many, and it's too many. By the end of it, I hated this story. I just wanted it to end. I got to the stage where I had, like, couple of thousand words left, and I was just driving myself. I was like, God's sakes, just hit the target. And to an extent, you like that all the way through. You have to hit the target, 50,000 words by the end of the month. 50,000 words, get there. And because of that, you end up writing such clutter. You write such gumph. It's ending up where it's like a college paper or a university essay or whatever, where you're trying to make up a word count and you're trying to get into that 10% of the word count. So you make sentences longer than they need to be by just adding words that don't need to be there. You start doing that with this, and so you've got so much stuff that doesn't need to be there just to get that 50,000 words. Which is a waste of writing, because when you come back to it, you've just got to take all that out again. And what's the point of writing in the first place, you know? This is like obviously my experience of writing. I'm sure many people out there can write really well at a pace like that, but I know a lot of people can't either. And as NaNoWriMo, I think, is geared towards newer people who are writing, who are thinking about writing a book but never find the time, blah blah blah, it gives them that reason to do it, because in the very first page it says ready to write a novel, as in it's a new thing to you, sort of thing, you know. 50,000 words is a massive amount to write for someone who isn't used to writing, so I think it's too much. Equally, in my 2011 attempt, I just finished another big project, so I came into it a little drained, I suppose, which is my own fault. But this is my other project, and I wrote 10,000, just over 10,000, and then I stopped. I gave up because I skipped a few days. I just didn't want to do it. I skipped maybe 3 or 4 days, didn't write anything, and it was an insurmountable task to get back to anywhere near writing 50,000 words. So I gave up. I just gave up. There's no way I can do it. Now, 50,000 words is a guide. It's a guide that NaNoWriMo gives you. It's the top tier. You know, once you reach 50,000 words, you've done it. It says congratulations, you've won, basically. So it is the target, and I think that it's a massive target to try and achieve. There's a couple problems with it. Well, the first one is, like I said, you end up writing a load of stuff that you wouldn't normally. You just add words and add filler, you know, and you go in on tangents that you wouldn't normally, and you just write to get the word count up, and you end up not writing the story at all. You just write to write more words. Secondly, afterwards, the idea sort of is that it's easier to approach a piece of writing that's already done with words on the page than it is to write a blank page like this. So it's supposed to be easier to you know, approach this and say, right, what am I going to do with this, rather than say, what am I going to do with this, which is like nothing. But there's another problem there, you see, because with this, when I went back a couple of months, maybe longer than that, and started editing this thing, there was so much in it that I didn't need. You just end up deleting all the stuff that you've written. What was the point of writing in the first place if you write so much stuff that you don't need? That you just end up deleting it all, and it's completely pointless to write it in the first place just to delete it when you come back to it. So what I would suggest, if you want to do NaNoWriMo, is forget the 50,000 words. This is to anyone who's sort of vaguely on my level, I guess, who's thinking about writing a book, but you know they're not that experienced about it and whatever, you know, and they feel like they should try. 30,000, I think, is a far more reasonable target to go for, because at 30,000 you're writing 1,000 words a day. Which I think is a much more doable target. Plus, at 30,000, you'll think about more what you're writing, because it's not such a massive task to write 50,000 that you'll be considering what you're writing more. You'll be thinking more about your characters and your story. You know, you'll have more time to think rather than just constantly type. And so the end result will be better. So when you come back to it, it'll be easier to work with and shorter, obviously, than this. Because by the time I've taken all the stuff out that doesn't need to be in this, it'll be about 30,000, 40, you know, 30 to 40,000 words anyway. So what's the point of writing it all when you're going to delete it anyway? Equally, with this attempt, which never happened, well, it never, you know, I didn't win. The 10,000 one, skipped a few days or whatever, didn't feel like it, came back to it, 10,000 words, I need to reach 50,000, not going to do it, just gave up, you know, there's no way I can do it, feel really bad about yourself, you know, I didn't make it, you know, I just can't do it. With 30,000 words, I can think, well, hey, you know, I've already got a third of the way there. I can do this, you know, I just need to work a little harder in the next couple of days and I'll be back on track. So I would have, if the target was 30,000, then I would have done 30,000, or at least I wouldn't have given up at 10. I would have done more. So I think that 30,000 is a much better target to go for with your first writing project if you're doing something akin to NaNoWriMo. So that's my thoughts on it anyway. I want to reiterate that these are just obviously my thoughts, and as a motivational tool, NaNoWriMo is bloody brilliant. You know, it gets people writing, and that's fantastic. So as a motivational tool, as an idea, it's great. But to push people towards that 50,000 for their first attempt at writing something like really big like this, I think is asking too much of most people. You know, some people can do it. You know, I'm sure there are many winners, inverted commas, every year who make the 50,000 words, but there are so many that fall by the wayside because it's just too much to do, you know. And I think there would be more winners if it was 30,000. I'm not suggesting they change it, you know, not that they listen to me or that anyone's really remotely going to come in and watch this video, but If it was 30,000, you'd get a much higher success rate, and I think all in all, you would get more words written as a total community because less people would give up if it was about 30,000 than, you know, like I did at 10,000 with 50. It's just, I can't do it, giving up. Whereas 30, I'd be like, I can still do this, I just have to work a little bit harder. So if you are thinking about doing it, then don't push yourself too hard. If you think you can do 50,000, then try it. But don't set the 50,000 in stone. You know, if you don't think that would be very likely for you to do, then hell, you know, do something else. You know, go for 30,000 or however many you feel like. But make sure it pushes you. You know, but don't make it. You know, don't make it too easy, but don't make it insurmountable either. And I think 50,000 for me is way too many. So if I do something like this again, I would try for a 30,000 word document. So that's my thoughts. Anyway, again, really fantastic motivational tool, but you can get intimidated by the target that it sets you. So don't. Basically, try not to, and set your sights lower if you have to. But you know, just don't give up, and keep pushing yourself, and see how far you can get. Right, that's my thoughts on NaNoWriMo. Anyway, hope you found that interesting and somewhat enlightening or whatever, and share your thoughts. I'd be interested to hear them. Anything points that I've said, feel free to, you know, agree, disagree. I'd be happy to discuss them in the comments. And yes, thank you for watching. I shall see you next video. Toodaloo.